Back in April of 2018, I opened up this brand new copy of Fox Sports NHL Championship 2000, a hockey simulation for the PlayStation that tends to be overlooked when you think about hockey games for the console. You think about NHL 98 or any of the NHL games, or NHL Face-Off, or if you're thinking arcade games, you look at NHL Open Ice or maybe NHL Rock the Rink, which we've also opened in this series. But Fox Sports NHL Championship 2000 boasts some really awesome presentation values for its time period, with fantastic commentary from Kenny Albert and John Davidson, a Fox Sports TV graphics package that looks just like TV, and with some gameplay that does take a little bit of getting used to, but once you do, it is fun to play. This game is worthy of a spot in your collection if you are a hockey video game fan. I talked about it a lot. It was awesome to be able to open this brand new copy, and I have played it on and off since I opened it. I still can't believe that it's been almost 3 years since I opened this copy of the game. The interesting story about Fox Sports NHL Championship 2000 is that it never was meant to be. Radical Entertainment, the company that developed this game, actually had developed the game for ESPN. It was going to be called ESPN National Hockey Night, but ESPN bailed on publishing it at the last minute, so the project was left in limbo, and poor Radical Entertainment really didn't know what it was going to do with it. In fact, there was NHL National Hockey Night, and there was NBA 2 Night for the PlayStation that Radical Entertainment had put together, had created, and both projects were dropped at the last minute. So Fox Interactive came in and rescued the games, the pair of games, I should say. So this was the result on the hockey side, and coming soon to Unsealed, we will talk about what happened on the NBA side of the house. But what's interesting about Radical Entertainment, and you may have heard of Radical before, if you ever played Simpsons Hit and Run, for example, for the PlayStation 2, Xbox, or GameCube, a fantastic GTA clone that takes place in the Simpsons universe, is as funny to play and to listen to as it is to watch if you've seen YouTubers play it. Radical Entertainment has been in the business for a long period of time, and their sports games generally tend to be pretty good. And what's interesting about Radical Entertainment is that they actually got their start with hockey years before. This here is NHL PowerPlay 96, which was published by Virgin Entertainment for the PlayStation. I believe it was also for the Saturn as well. And while it does look a little bit rough, if you take a look at the visuals on the back, it's important to understand that this is only a year after the PlayStation came out. So of course the graphics are going to be a little bit rough as the programmers and the developers are starting to get a handle on what the PlayStation hardware can do versus what it can't do. I personally have not played this, by the way, but I do know that it signifies Radical Entertainment's vision of hockey for the console. I've had this in my library for a while, but the sequel was a game that I hadn't had in my library for a while, and is a reason why I kind of held off on playing either of these, because I was waiting to see what the sequel would be like. I wanted to have both to compare them. Well, thankfully, now I do have both, because I have a brand new sealed copy of NHL PowerPlay 98, again developed by Radical Entertainment and again published by Virgin Interactive. Scoring a hat trick with real hockey moves, real hockey action, and real hockey competition. Let's see, that looks like, is that Dominic Hasek on the front there? It looks that way. That's 39. That's the Dominator right there. Let's take a look at the back of the case, and as we do, the graphics look a little bit better this time around. The characters don't look quite as blocky. I do like some of the camera angles as well. Let's take a look at some of the features. So the real hockey moves, fake shots, stumble passes, and one-timers to dump-ins, deflections, and hooking, accurate skating physics for realistic controls, superior AI with over 650 NHLPA players, and all 26 NHL teams performing true to life. So that sounds promising. Real hockey action with superior 3D graphics and motion captured player models, no boxy sprites. And again, you can see here, while it does look a little bit boxy, it certainly looks better than we saw with NHL PowerPlay 96. The players are better rounded, they look a little bit more realistic, and that's what you're going for. On-the-fly 3D environment for in-your-face action. I really don't know what that means. 5 playable camera angles for total visual control. So again, sounds promising. Real hockey competition. Create and trade players while tracking team and individual stats over a season. Oh, individual. Oh boy. I don't know if you can see it there. That's not quite right. Spell check. Coach your team's strategy for defense, offense, penalty killing, or power play scenarios, and you can go head-to-head with up to 7 of your friends in the multiplayer mode. So yes, this does use the multi-tap. It is NHL and NHL PA licensed, so you do, as it promises, have all the NHL teams and all of the NHL players. So let's take a look at this bad boy. Let's get it opened up. It has been sitting here sealed since 1997, and you've heard me say it before, and I'll say it again. 1997 is my favorite year in console video game history. So many great games came out in that year, including NHL 98, and this really has no chance to compete against what I consider to be one of the best hockey games of all time. But let's see how it fares. Let's go ahead and open it up. There we go. And after I shoot this video here, after I finish this, I think I'm actually going to pop this in the old PS1 unit here that I have with the screen and kind of check things out. Maybe I'll post some images on Twitter a little bit later. There we go. There is the seal. Again, NHL PowerPlay 98. Another one for the books. When we open the case, yep, we do see NHL PowerPlay 98 in a blue and black look. That's what the disc looks like. We have an ad here for Grand Slam, available now for the PlayStation. And Radical Entertainment developed that as well. That would be interesting. I need to see if I can find that one to do on this show, maybe for baseball season. Manual's not in color, unfortunately. It's in black and white. Welcome to NHL PowerPlay 98, where you experience the ultimate hockey showdown with real skating, real physics, and real action. Claude Lemieux doesn't check like Brendan Moore in real life, and he doesn't in NHL PowerPlay 98 either. Our Patrick Waugh doesn't make glove saves like the Dominator, and you'll have a tough time beating our Beezer through the 5-hole. John Van Beesbrook reference, I love it. We use the actual styles and abilities of guys like Fedorov, Shanahan, Leach, and every other player in the NHL to deliver the most realistic hockey game ever created. That's apparently what the title screen looks like. I'm intrigued. I'm certainly intrigued. I'm always looking for a new hockey challenge. So there are play controls. Doesn't look like it's using the dual analog sticks here, so you're using just a D-pad, but that's fine with me. I don't mind digital controls. That's what the option screen looks like right there, so you can take a look. So we have start game, continue game, quick start, game controls, choose language, or load preferences. So the gameplay modes, you can choose exhibition, season mode. An 82-game season reflects true-to-life 96-97 schedule, so that's kind of cool. Playoff mode, so you go right to the playoffs instead of playing through the 82-game regular season. A world tournament mode that has tournament play, like international play. I think that's pretty neat. I do believe that NHL 98 did the same thing that year. I think they had players from the different countries, if I'm not mistaken. So you can mess around with the red line, blue line, face-off, overtime periods, penalties, whether you have offsides on or off. I can tell you, when I used to play NHL games for the Genesis, I always used to have offside off because I never understood how offside worked. And if I'm being completely honest, when NHL 98 came out, I also had it turned off because the game was just lightning fast. But when it got especially to the PlayStation 2 era and beyond, I actually did start playing with offsides on. Once I understood what the rule was, I really didn't understand what offsides meant. It took a long time for me to figure that out, but once I did, it made sense to have that turned on. It just felt more realistic, unless, of course, I'm playing an arcade sports hockey title like NHL Hits or NHL Open Ice, where offsides really doesn't matter. So you can trade and create players. That's cool. I'm certainly going to put myself in the game. Fighting. Fights occur in NHL PowerPlay 98 when two aggressive players become particularly agitated with each other. In these extreme situations, tempers will occasionally flare up to an expression of this aggression. Although the NHL and NHL PA in no way endorse fighting, it has been included as an option to offer a full simulation of the sport. When a fight breaks out, the camera will automatically zoom in on the players involved and rotate slowly around the action. Press the triangle button to throw an overhand blow and press the X button for an uppercut. When the fight is over, both players are sent to the penalty box to serve a 5-minute infraction. So at least there's some fighting there. It's probably not the best, but I'm not sure. I'll try and find out. There are deflections, something that we really didn't see a lot of in hockey games for the PlayStation, so it's neat that they're listed here. Deflection occurs when a player takes a slap shot that is redirected on goal by another player on the same team. The most common time a deflection is seen is off a slap shot from the blue line that is deflected on goal by a player posted in front of the net. So again, that is more realistic. We really didn't see that much in NHL Face-Off, and I don't think we saw it much in the NHL Hockey series from EA either, so that's interesting that that's listed here. The game that comes to mind for me when we're thinking about deflections is NHL Hits Pro for the PS2, the Xbox, and the GameCube. That game uses deflections and wraparounds really well, even though it's an arcade game, and it just feels more like a better representation of the sport. And I've opened NHL Hits Pro on this show before, so I've certainly talked about that in the past. Hooking is here, where you can do it manually. You position yourself close to an opposing player and press the hook button, which is the wrist shot button. Got to be careful though, because you can get called for a penalty for that. There are fake slap shots. You can mess around with instant replays. There's a whole section here on pro tips on how to play the game better that I'm sure I will read in time. Actually, probably not. I'll probably figure that out on my own. And then we have our credits, including Radical Entertainment and Virgin Interactive. So we have our credits there. The announcer is John Ashbridge from the Canucks, so that's pretty cool. Ted Saskin and Mike Ouellette from the NHL PA are listed as contacts, as well as Eileen Kent, Catherine O'Brien, and Nelly Campana for the NHL. Devin Smith, Christian Lalonde, Christian Conrad, and Ralph Halleck, are the motion capture talent. So there's some, I think that's pretty much about it. Yeah, there's really not much else to see here. But I do find these interesting. The fact that Radical Entertainment had a couple of years of experience with hockey before getting that initial contract from ESPN to create National Hockey Night, which inevitably turned into NHL Championship 2000, I think is pretty cool. And while Radical Entertainment then kind of ducked out of sports games altogether after the PlayStation era and went toward other development, I think that they were a sports game developer that, had the right publisher pick them up, I think could have done pretty well for themselves. And now, of course, in these days where sports games are dominated by one game for the most part, it's too bad to see other talent not getting their crack at representing the sports that we know and love so very much. So that's it for this episode of Unsealed. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely have to check out NHL PowerPlay 98, and if I'm being honest, I think I might have to get a game of this in pretty soon too. We are in the middle of hockey season, of course, even though you know what, the pandemic making sports kind of weird at the moment, so the schedules are all strange. But hockey is certainly going full force, and we're getting ready for the college basketball tournament as well. So we do have some basketball games, college basketball games in the collection, and we will be opening one of those up very soon here on Unsealed as well. Until the next time, my friends, please stay safe, take care of yourselves and each other, and again, we'll do this really soon. Until that time comes, take care.